volumes. So I don't know who's created this tempest in a teapot, but if the utility board is able to function and to do its business, it ought to be left alone, and it ought to be allowed to do so. I would bet you $1 that when votes are taken in this council room, that it's not always unanimous. And that's part of how democracy works. This is a democracy. You represent a democracy. And you may not all agree on everything. It might be a 4-3 vote. It might be a 5-2 vote. There was recently a vote over at the utility. It was 3-1. But that's how democracy works. And when people walk out of that room, that doesn't mean that it's dysfunctional. That doesn't mean that it's not working. And as the council member Brown said, whatever the decision of the majority is this evening, when I walk out of here, I'm going to support it, whether I vote yes or whether I vote no. And that's what's going on at the utility board. They make a decision, they have an issue, they debate the issue, they vote on the issue, and they live with the decision, and they move forward to work another day. If the board wasn't working, the board would be here asking for Leon's removal, and I think the fact that they aren't here is what everybody really needs to take into consideration. If it's truly so bad, if it's truly so dysfunctional, why aren't those other folks here speaking out and asking you and providing you with their input on this issue? That's all I have. Thank you.
Can I ask you a quick question? A 3-1 vote with 5 members? A 3-1 vote for 5 members? What happened to the 5th person?
Because the chair doesn't vote unless there's a tie to be broken.
And why is that? They were all put into that position the same time, the same way. They all were nominated and voted on by the council. Why is the chairman not allowed to vote?
But you might direct that question to the city attorney. I didn't draft the rules of procedure for the utility board. That's what the rules are.
The rules say that the chairman cannot vote but to break a tie.
Only to break it.
Yeah, that's right. The chairman votes to break a tie. Otherwise, the chairman doesn't vote.
Okay, then when an individual is made the chairman over and over, nobody else will take the responsibility of it, then that prohibits that person from ever having any input in the decisions of the light plant.
The chairman can participate in any debate that the chairman wishes.
But he can't vote on it. He can't be part of a vote. Why? I guess I'm having trouble with that. With the fact that they were all 5 put on the board at the same time. The current chairman tried to get off the board in January, and nobody else would take the position, and they made him the chairman again. So he could be on there for years and never be allowed to vote.
The mayor doesn't vote here.
No, that's a whole different set of government. We're set up differently. I can't even break a vote, period. That's the way city government's set up. But I questioned how the light plant, how 5 people can be put on a vote, on the board, voted in the same manner by the majority of the city council, and yet one of them is never allowed to vote if they keep him as the chairman.
Well, that's up to the chairman to ask that those rules to be changed.
He has.
Well,
And that's been part of the discussion.
I've never seen
sometimes.
it in their minutes.
That's what's been part of the conflict sometimes, is the fact that he's been told he's not allowed to vote.
Madam Mayor, I didn't write the rules. I'm simply telling you, it's the city council that created that enterprise decades ago, that created the rules of procedure. I don't represent the utility board, so I can't explain to you why someone a few decades ago, or some group a few decades ago, established that policy. I'm simply...
I haven't found it in writing. That's the reason I'm questioning.
Well, and you've got a city attorney here who's a very capable individual, and if
Have you seen that in anything in writing?
When
When I looked at the ordinance for the board, there's nothing in there that specifies that the chairman's not allowed to vote, other than break a tie.
The fact that you have not found it, I don't know that means it doesn't exist, but I'll accept that you've not been able to find it.
Okay, just curious.
That's something we should, that's a legitimate question that you as mayor can ask the light plant board and ask their light plant board lawyer. My guess is they probably adopted a resolution or some sort of operating procedure where they established the voting procedure, and they've said the chairman doesn't vote. So it's probably some sort of thing that they created, like Mr. Collins said, 10, 20 years ago, whenever they were enacted. I don't think it's in our code of ordinances, but I don't think
No.
it should be in our code of ordinances necessarily.
And the chairman's not aware that there's a policy that says he can't vote. He's just told that at each meeting.
Well, then the procedure he should follow is ask his board lawyer where it is, and then the board lawyer should find it, and he should be asserting himself and asking for it, and if he doesn't get one, then he should raise that issue and put it on the agenda and change it. That's the procedure to change it. Because if they can't find it, then they should change it.
If they can't find it, then it never existed,
Well,
I'm
then-
assuming.
or create a new one. Yeah, you're right, you're right. If they can't find it, then they should create a new one, but they should address it within their board.
Yeah.
And there's a way, it's simple to do. They just set it for an agenda issue and change their policy.
The problem with this is he was chairman before Mr. Bachman was on so he's been told by others besides Mr. Bachman that, so I don't think you can blame him for blocking the chairman from voting.
I think he voted before. I think he used to vote.
No, he's never voted.
Has he always been the chairman? Has there nobody else ever been, have either one of you two ever been the chairman? Because you've been on there for what, 5 years now? You're on your 5th year? 5 years? And in 5 years, you've never been the chairman?
No.
Why is that?
Because they keep voting him.
Because you keep voting him on?
I
You
was
would-
there when he got voted in again. And the years I was on there, for the 4 years, every time he got voted in, without even anybody else saying anything. Everybody voted him in. 4 years ago, when I was on that board, nothing got done. It was all one-sided. Jerry got yelled at, and you can look at the minutes, and half the videos, the audio tapes were missing, because the chairman didn't like the way I was asking questions. I mean, yeah, you guys have this thing with Leon and asking questions. I tried it. So you know what I did? I said, the heck with it. I'm just gonna sit here with the 4 years. I can't win a vote if I wanted to. Nobody, Cindy was with me for a while until I got royally chewed out for going against Brian. So then she backed off and said, I ain't going down that road, Jerry. You've never been there. If you've been there for the last 4 years, you would see what happened every time. Not just because you're in there on and off. You have to be there every day we are there. Then you can see how the board runs.
I have been for about the
nominated-
last 8.
I nominated Leon for a treasurer. I did it. And you guys could all blame me for that. But I did it because we weren't getting answers. Can I go down that road with the manager? No. Okay, I can't go that far on that. There was an answer there. Legally, when it's out, you'll know.
When what's out?
When they allow us to tell what we can, if we can. There's reasons.
Well, I know.
I'm not the lawyer, and I don't have legal counsel.
I know Leon made accusations or comments about there being something legally going on at the light plant, and when we had a meeting with him and his attorney and asked about that, he would not let us know. Because that comes back on the city.
Excuse me, Carter, as a point of order here, first of all, the issue this evening is the retention of Mr. Bachman, and it's not regarding what goes on at the utility or what has gone on at the utility. And those are issues which are purely within the purview of the utility board. And if the utility board feels it is appropriate to share that information, it will at the appropriate time, but that's not something that's subject to debate this evening.
It seems to me I saw something either in emails or something that just wanting to know the answer to that.
The history of that is, we had concerns, or I think you had concerns about what Leon may have found out or did not find out. And they responded to us that they weren't gonna discuss that day. And subsequently, they've responded to us and said that that's a light plant issue, and that's something that the light plant is dealing with, and it involves potentially an employment issue, and it's not something we should be talking about tonight, and it's purely within their board purview. And they're right, they're an autonomous board, they're totally separate from us. The only connection we have with them by our own design, we created this monster, or this
Or-
baby, or whatever you wanna call it. We did this. The only connection we have is that we appoint the members, that's it. So they're a complete and separate entity. And they're probably correct in that they're not gonna talk about their business here tonight, because that's not the issue. And they don't feel they should talk about it, and they shouldn't. Because they shouldn't talk about their personal, confidential employment information with us, because we don't have a right to know that. That's not our, we decided we don't have a right to know that. So that's our fault, or that's our wisdom, however you wanna look at it. That's their business, and that's what they're saying. They're saying that they're not gonna talk about it tonight because they feel that they can't. And I agree with them, they can't, and under this scenario. And the way we've set up this meeting, the issue, I think, has always been, and the way I drew the notice was that the concern that you as mayor have had has been Leon Bachman's personality conflict issues with individuals at the light plant and on the board and in the community. And I think that's the way we set this up, and that's what the issue is.
What did we have the meeting on the 12th for, that you three called?
The meeting on the 12th was for the purpose of us talking to Leon and you and me and his lawyer to see if we could resolve your concerns about Leon's performance.
No. That meeting was called for us to find out, because